I'm your host, Samantha Stone, and today we're going to talk about all things happening around the city, and then we're going to talk about a really important way that you can give back and help families this holiday season. Welcome, Scott.
Hi, Samantha.
So Halloween parade is coming up. I know we've talked about this a lot, but I'm just so excited about it. I had two questions for you. One, do you know when the streets close down? Because there's quite a lot of opinions about that. And I wasn't sure. I thought it was like 12:30-ish, but do you know?
I think it's around 12. They start trying to get people off the main road, but we're actually having the annual planning meeting tomorrow at the Woburn Police Station at 10. So it's going to be, I mean, you could just say around 12 o'clock.
Yeah.
So people should be off the streets by that time.
Yeah, great. Awesome. And then the second thing is not related to your role as mayor, but I know you're part of the Lions Club and a member. Do you have a sense of how much the gap is? I know there's still fundraising to cover costs. Do you know kind of where we need to get to or would like to get to? Obviously, this year is going to happen at this point, no matter what.
I think when all is said and done, they always, they always do pretty well, but I feel more comfortable leaving that to Leo, Leo and Frank, and they could talk to you about what they need and what their goals are. But they, the people in the city are generous, and the businesses, as always, are very generous. So, I think they end up always, meeting their mark. But I like I said, I think I'd rather leave it up to them to tell you exactly how much they're looking for. But
yeah,
again, just
I know we had Frank was on and we did talk about a number. I just didn't know how close we were, so it's no problem. We'll follow up with him. So, fantastic. I'm going to read something because I don't want to get this wrong, and there's a lot of things in it that I'm not really sure what any of it means. And so I thought I'd give you the chance. I'm sure this is actually quite straightforward. So there was a statement on the city website, which I think is a routine thing we do around our assessments. And so it was sort of the notification about public record for preliminary certification of the city's quinquennial, I don't even know how to pronounce that word, reevaluation program, and blah, 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 right? It's a lot of words to say, hey, every year or whatever period of time we look at our value of a property and make assessments. So can you interpret all that gobbledygook into what it means for us and how the public should participate in the process?
It's required by state law. It's required by the DOR, and John Conley in the assessor's office does a great job. This was the year they had to revalue all the property, and of course, everybody knows that the property values have gone up significantly. And this year is a big jump, like 10%. The assessed values went up. So, as part of this whole process of the revaluation process, that you're required to do the public notice, so people have the opportunity to look at their values, see where they've gone, and just it's public notice. And the revals are important because we use those as part of our tax rate, the tax rate where we set the tax rate based on the values and the amount of money that we've spent. So. That's coming up, and this is just part of the process to get those values, the revaluation certified by the state, and we're well on our way to getting that done.
So the good news is when our property values go up, our property values go up for those people who own property. Right. The challenge news that means it usually comes with an equivalent increase, in taxes that we pay and what we contribute to the city. So people should take a look at it and be aware and be prepared for those things, right?
And one good point, Samantha, we'll be setting the tax rate right around the last week in November. And, that doesn't mean a lot to people until they see their tax bill, which is usually, will usually be their third tax bill next year. So not the first two are based on, this year's taxes. They just, they split them in half and it's an estimate. But the third one is where you get, you'll get your, you'll get your real tax bill. So, and it's sometimes it's an eye opener, but the thing in Woburn, we do have the business, which has really helped us in the past, take a bite out of the taxes. But what's happening now is the residential values are going up much faster than commercial, particularly office. So that's going to have a little bit more of an impact on the taxes. Will have a little bit more of an impact on residents than the offices because their values are going down, not going down, but not going up as much.
Yeah. Okay. And, obviously the math is, you can not increase the tax rate at all, but if your property value goes up, you pay more, right?
That's
so, Even when we've done a pretty good job of maintaining our tax rates and not making significant leaps, there are impacts for people that they should be prepared to plan for and know what's coming.
Yeah, and again, we set our budget in June. The city council approves the budget that I send down, and we've had, like everybody else, you've seen increases in some of our goods and services, and it's particularly there'll be some impact in the budget. As before we set the tax rate, we'll add some increases into the budget for utilities that have really skyrocketed, and some of the products that we're buying have gone up. So we'll see an impact in a couple items that we didn't anticipate at the budget time that are gonna, again, cause the budget to go up a little bit.
And I know we've talked about housing, and I just want those who are watching to know we do have a couple guests we're lining up to have an episode where we talk about housing and new construction and some of the things that some of the new legislation, how it affects us. We're going to do that later in November because there's some process stuff happening at the state level. We want that to happen so that we can have the best, most productive conversation, but we will definitely be doing that. And we've got that in process for folks. One of the other things I wanted to ask you about was pseudo budget related. So when we last talked about the budget, there were still some outstanding city worker contracts that were still being negotiated. Just wanted to do a quick check-in where we're at. I know we're really close on the teacher contracts. Where are we at with that? And there are any others that are outstanding at this point?
Yes, there's three contracts that are outstanding. We're working. The teachers are scheduled to vote on the proposal. I think they're scheduled to vote first week in November on the proposal that we both agreed. The negotiating teams have both agreed to. Now it has to be approved by the teachers union. So we're waiting on that. The police patrol, we're the JLMC. We've got a MOA that's a memorandum of agreement on a settlement. We're waiting for a vote on that. And the superiors are at the JLMC. That'll be settled by arbitration unless we can get it done before that. And the library, well, we're just waiting for that to be signed as well. So we're in pretty good shape. There's still a few the paperwork still needs to be completed, but we feel like we're in pretty good shape.
Good. And these are 2-year agreements, 1-year agreement? What are they? They're all 3-year agreements.
Okay. The teachers, remember, they settled on a 1-year deal that expired August 31st. So they'll be working on a 3-year deal. All the other unions are we're in the second year, since like the police, the superiors, and the library, they've gone 1 year with expired contracts. So when we settle, it'll be retro for a year and then it'll go forward for 2 more.
When you say superiors, I'm sorry, I just don't know what that is.
Superiors are the officers, the sergeants, lieutenants, captains.
Oh, in the police department.
Yep.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to make sure I understood that correctly. I could start guessing what it was, but I figured that would lead to that thing. Yeah. So I should just always ask. I figure if I have the question, so do people who are listening, at least some of them. So that's great. Anything else that you want to touch base on?
No, we talked about PFAS, and we're still working on the PFAS. We're sending out a letter of public notice about our quarter, which was over the 20 parts per trillion. We were at 22, so we're going to send out another notice. It's on the city's website, so we're staying on top of that and moving ahead with our plans for installing filters.
Great, excellent. Thanks for joining us, Scott.
Yeah, good to be here. Thanks, Samantha.
Paula, thank you so much for joining me today from Social Concern. I'm really glad to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
So every around Thanksgiving time, one of our family traditions since we've moved here is to donate a Thanksgiving meal to the food pantry. And a few times I've helped deliver those meals, and I always love it because I don't know, I'm all about food. Anybody who watches this show knows that food is like my life. And so the thought of someone not having being able to have a celebratory feast if they want one always really bothered us. So it's kind of a fun thing for us to do. And we appreciate that. Tell us a little bit about how many families you're hoping to serve this year.
So we usually give out approximately between 350 and 400 baskets between distribution, which is November 22nd at the American Legion Hall. And then we also deliver to those that can't get out, the elderly, people that are disabled. And so we deliver about 50 baskets locally.
That's great. And I know people can donate, like we try and donate a full meal, but also people can donate, whatever they can, right? So, items and things. I know you usually have a pretty good list. I might even have gotten it in the mail the other day, sitting, waiting for me to sort through my mail of items. Where can people find that list, or what are the top things that you are particularly in need of?
So we do have a list on our website, which is everyday needs. And then we have a special list for holiday baskets and holiday food drives, which focuses more on the Thanksgiving meal, like the instant mashed potato, stuffing, which we are very low on, those two items right now, cranberry sauce, veggies. So I have a list that I can email people. They can just, shoot me an email, paula@socialconcern.org, and I'd be happy to email it out. Or you can go for our website, because that has a list of, a general list of everyday needs.
That's great. And I know you said you were distributing, I think you said on the 22nd. So if people want to particularly, the pantry accepts donations all the time, and they're always welcomed.
Mm-hmm.
If people want to participate specifically in the holiday baskets, what's sort of the deadline to make donations to be able to hit that delivery date?
So the holiday baskets, they can really donate right up until the 22nd. So we don't have a time frame. We have food drives that people run as well. We do have a large drop-off day for companies on November 18th, which is a Friday. But we take donations Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. until 4:30. So if you can't make it on a particular day, we'd be happy to take it any other day.
That's great. I love it. And are you looking for volunteers to help compile baskets or deliver them or anything, or are you well staffed?
We are pretty well staffed. We have companies that put together baskets, and we have single individuals that put together 1 or 2, and companies that put together 30. So it's kind of like a community effort. A lot of the same people do it, like yourself, every year. It's an ongoing thing for them. So volunteers for that. Usually the deliveries we get that fills up. That's the first thing that fills up. It's wonderful to see, because everybody wants to participate and bring it to people that can't otherwise go out and get it themselves.
That's great. And I know obviously non-perishable goods is largely, you don't have a lot of fresh storage, but you do accept gift cards to grocery stores, correct?
We do. And we do have 2 large commercial refrigerators and 3 freezers. So we are able to keep a lot of produce and frozen meats and things like that.
That's great. And I know most of the turkeys that get donated for Thanksgiving are those, you buy those in bulk, right? Or do people, are you looking for individual donations of those?
Actually, we found out just recently that we can't order in bulk through Market Basket. They're not allowing them to sell in bulk. We do get a lot when they're available through the Greater Boston Food Bank. So it's just a logistic thing on our storage and how many we can order at a time. But we do have a local company that is allowing us to use their freezers. And then we'll have another company pick them up on the 22nd and bring them over to the American Legion Hall. So it's really a group effort. But yes, we take individual donations. If someone wanted to drop off a turkey, we certainly have room for, single donations. We have people that'll donate 5, things like that. So
that's great. Well, what a lovely and an important service that is for this community. I know we talked about the meals particularly, but between now and then, there's lots of people who still have food needs. Are there anything else that you are in particularly short supply of in the food pantry that you want people to know about and help you stock up on?
You name it. This is our lowest we've been. I think there's been such a need lately with inflation. We're getting a lot of people that just can't make ends meet. So we go through, believe it or not, pasta. We have hardly any pasta, boxes of pasta, instant mashed potato, stuffing, cereal, cold cereal is on very low right now. But really, we really take anything. It just goes to stock through now, and then we keep the excess and we go right through December and on.
That's great. Thank you so much for joining me. And Woburn, you heard all the important food needs that we have. I know we have a number of food pantries in the city. The social concern is an incredibly important role in helping make sure that everyone has food in our communities. I'd encourage you to make a donation, grab a group of people together to put a holiday basket together, any ways that we can help. So Paula, last thing before I let you go, a food drive is coming up. Tell us about that.
So it's the Postal Food Drive for Winchester and Woburn, and you just have to leave out donations at your mailbox. It's this Saturday, October 29th, and you just leave the donations out by 9 o'clock, and your postman will pick it up and bring it here.
And if you want to leave a little heating pad out for the postal workers that work really hard at carrying all this food, feel free to do that. I'm sure that, thank you for letting us know that. That's a really easy way to contribute. Don't even have to leave home, leave it out with your mail, and make sure that it's a really great partnership with the post office that helps pick up all those items and brings it to those in need. Woburn, as always, please continue to take good care of each other.